Hello and welcome to this final episode of Seasons of Your Mind talk series for 2022. I hope that you have enjoyed this previous talks, and in this talk you would be able to take some valuable and helpful points that you would be able to employ in your day-to-day life as you continue your path on self-care and well-being. My name is Saboohi Famili, and I'm privileged to give this talk on behalf and in support of Mind Jersey and also the Diversity Network. Their mission is very close to my heart, and I hope that through these efforts I play a small part in reducing the stigma associated with mental ill health, and also help the community within Jersey and further afield to better understand the impact of mental health on individuals and in communities. So in this session, I would like to cover a better understanding of mental health and give you some statistical information about the prevalence of mental ill health and the problems that would bring both in individuals, families, and the bigger impact on the community, including some economic impact. And also talk to you about the risks associated with mental health. How can we build resilience? How can we establish a supportive environment to improve mental health and well-being? And as I said, try to reduce the stigma associated with mental ill health. So let's have a look at the definition of mental health. We all have mental health. The problem arises where our mental well-being is affected, and therefore we lack good mental health, and therefore we have mental ill health. But let's have a definition of what mental health is. World Health Organization in 2022 updated their definition, and they state that mental health is a state of well-being that enables people to cope with stresses of life, realize their ability, how to improve their life, learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. They continue to state that and mental health is an integral component of health and well-being that underpins our individual and our collective abilities to make decisions, build relationships, and shape the world we live in. World Health Organization continues to say that mental health is a basic human right, and it is crucial to the personal, community, and socio-economic development of any society. So let's have a quick glance at mental well-being at work. Obviously, when you're at work, you can have a mental health that is related to your own individual. How would you take what you have, your attitude, your behavior, and your being, and how you present at work? You also have the nature of the work and how that would impact on your mental health, and also the work environment. Is it a conducive, helpful, safe environment for you or not? You might think stresses that you would face at work might impact negatively on your well-being at work, but that is can be true, but also it's really important to establish and understand that really working is very good for mental health. You get a better self-improved self-esteem. You will have a sense of fulfillment when you're at work. The fact that you have sources of interactions, sources of income, which is mostly why people go to work, are all important factors that would have a positive impact on your mental health. There is no getting away from the fact that work can cause problems too. You know, one of the key aspects of problems that work can cause on mental health is stress. And sometimes we talk about stress, but what we really mean is that we find a situation or what we are facing stressful, or that you are feeling stressed, rather than there being stress at work. It's your interaction and your perception and your reaction to the situation that you find yourself in, which is causing your mental health to suffer. There is also no medical definition for stress. The most commonly agreed definition that we have comes from the Health and Safety Executive, which talks about stress being the adverse reaction a person has to excessive pressure of types of demands that are placed on them. Also, the medical professions do not have a common shared agreement term and definition for stress. They don't even agree if stress is the cause or a symptom. Is it a diagnosis, or is it a symptom of a diagnosis? So let's have a quick glance at the most common mental health conditions. If I ask you to name some medical diagnosis that you know or can relate to mental ill health, you probably talk about probably stress. As we established, it's not a medical condition, but it is definitely a symptom that we would feel. Same goes with anxiety, and obviously depression is a medical condition, as is anxiety. And then there are more serious disorders of mental health, like psychosis and schizophrenia, where the individual would feel and sense things that are not in the real world, or maybe personality disorders or bipolar disorders. So let's have a quick look at some statistics. The sources of the material that I'm sharing with you are from the Health and Safety Executive UK 2022, and it talks about 1 in 4 people experiencing some form of mental health in any 1 year. 1 in 4 people. You're looking at 1 in 6 people in UK experiencing anxiety, depression at any given time that meet the criteria for diagnosis. So this is not just having a bit of anxiety. This is anxiety enough for people to get a diagnosis for anxiety. One of the shocking statistics to me is that approximately 75% of people suffering from mental health issues do not seek professional help. You can attribute this lack of accepting mental health problems and seeking support from it to be associated with the stigma that surrounds the whole mental health and mental well-being. And this is something that we all can have a role to play. You can imagine if you had a broken leg, you would certainly go and seek medical help for it without second thinking about it. How is it that when you have mental ill health, which would impact your entire well-being, your attitude towards life, the way you function, and then you ignore that? 75% of people would ignore that. Let's have a look at the economic cost of mental ill health. Again, the statistics that I share with you is from Health and Safety Executive UK, and it talks about the annual cost to UK employers due to mental health issues in the workplace to be around 33 billion to 42 billion pounds. This is a significant amount of cost to the business and therefore to the economy. And it also says that by attending to mental well-being in the workplace, we are able to reduce that cost by 1/3. If you talk to any businessman or woman and say that you would be able to reduce your cost by 1/3 to the significance of the level we are talking about here, it will be a no-brainer in investing in mental well-being at work. So let's get to some practical examples and techniques that you would be able to use to help reduce the stigma associated within mental health. You can apply these techniques to your own personal and individual life, or you can take it to your family and the immediate community at home, or also use this as a vehicle to support mental health and well-being at work. The first one of these techniques that I would like to share with you, I dub as KILN, KILN. Considering your environment, your personal being, your family conditions, or at work, I would like you to have a think about mental health issues and the stigma associated with mental health, and look at these 4 letters and how would you be able to reduce this stigma. So looking at mental health and stigma, the keep is, what can you keep? What practices do you currently have in your personal life, in your family, at work, in the community at large, that you would like to keep? It is a really good practice that already is addressing some of the issues associated with mental health. Are there things that you do within your life that are helping you reducing the stigma associated with mental health, and what are the things that you are already doing, but you're not really paying attention to them. So have a good look at your own practices and what would you like to keep. I is for improve in Kiln, and with that is again having a review of your practices. You would like to have a look and see what is it that you would like to improve. You're doing a little bit, but it can be improved. There is room for you to grow that practice and do it better. So what are the things that you can do as a person within the family, within the community, within your work that you would be able to improve in order to reduce the stigma associated with mental health? L in Kiln is for lessen. What would you like to reduce? What would you like to have less of? What are the things that you do that does not reduce the stigma associated with mental health? What are the things that you need to get rid of in order to improve and also raise awareness about mental health? N in Kiln, K-I-L-N, is what is it that you want to introduce new? Are there things that you can do that you haven't been thinking about before? And all of these in order for you to help reduce stigma associated with mental health within yourself, within your immediate family, your community, your workplace at large. So now let's have a look at what strategies can you employ to better manage your own mental health. A technique that I use very regularly and I encourage those who I work with or coach to use is a technique called 3-2-1. Everything that we face in life can fit into these three categories. Situations that I would place in category number 3 are the ones that are completely outside your control. There is nothing you can do about them, and therefore stressing over them, worrying about them is absolutely futile. Category number 1 are situations and areas where they are completely within your control and you can do something about them. So if you have anything in category number 3, you would be able to establish firmly within your own psyche and mindset that there is nothing you can do about it, and therefore you would be able to let go of the guilt, the stress, the worry. Those in category 3 also include the ones that it's not only outside your immediate control of actually doing something about it, but also it's outside and beyond your sphere of influence. You will not be able to influence the decision about it being different. So therefore, it firmly sits within being outside your control. Anything in category 1, it's something within the area of your control. You would be able to influence the decision about it, and therefore what you need to do is to get on and do what is needed. The problem lies where we have issues that are in category number 2, in between 3 and 1, in between completely out of your control or sphere of influence, or immediately within your influence and you can do something about it. So if you're thinking about situations and scenarios where you find it in category 2, one quick mental exercise would bring you to the point of saying, okay, can I shift this to any of the other 2 categories? Is it going to be something that I can actually influence and do something about, bringing it into category 1 and therefore getting on and doing it? Or looking at it not being able to be shifted or moved and therefore goes into the category 3 of outside your sphere of control or action, and let go of it. One other strategy that you can employ to better manage your own mental health is looking at situations where things are not working well and apply these categories and these assessment and reviews of it, which I would call AUCCC: awareness, understanding, capability, capacity, and commitment. So if something is bothering you, have a look and see if you're aware of why that is and how it has arrived to a point of it being an issue for you. If something isn't happening the way that you want it to happen, have a look and see, is there an issue with regards to awareness? And if it is, how can you bring that awareness? Looking at you in AUCCC, U stands for understanding. You might be aware that something is bothering you, but are you able to bring an understanding of its impact and an understanding of what does that do to your life, and fully and more encompassingly embrace it as to what you would be able to do about it. In circumstances, you might be aware of what is bothering you. You fully understand what does that mean, but you are unable to deal with it because you lack capability. You don't know a way of coping with it or dealing with the situation. So in that scenario, talking it through with someone, seeking help, increasing your knowledge and skill set in order to be able to deal with the circumstances is the right thing for you to do. And there is plenty of support available that you would be able to access. But one of the key aspects of that capability is sharing it and admitting it, and going out and seeking that support that is needed. The second C in AUCCC is the capacity. By that, what I mean is you might be aware, you understand, you know what to do, you have the skill set, but you are thinking, when am I going to fit this in? You don't have the capacity, time, space to do this. And in that circumstances, would be helpful for you to reassess the prioritization of your life and look at the impact of the matter in hand, and see if you procrastinate and put this aside and delay it and do not prioritize it, what the impact of that would be in your life. And therefore, going back to 3, 2, 1, can you put this into category 1 and get on with it and do something about it? The last C in AUCCC is commitment. You might be aware, you understand, you have the skill set, you have made time and resources available to be able to do what is needed. But do you really commit to your own well-being and make that a priority? And that is very, very key. You saw the statistic about 75% of people not seeking professional help, not admitting that there is a problem. And this is something that we all owe ourselves, our families, our community, and the economy at large and the community at large, for us to make a personal commitment to look after ourselves and better manage our own mental health. I hope in this brief session you have learned some information that you would be able to employ in your day-to-day life, and that together we would be able to manage our own mental health and also promote and reduce the stigma associated with mental health. Make sure that you would have that in mind in terms of commitment. Make sure that you will keep in mind the importance of seeking help, and make sure that you will look after yourself during these conflicting times and difficult times that we all face in the world that we live in. It remains for me to say a big thank you to Mind Jersey and the Diversity Network for supporting these talk series, and I wish them the very best of luck for the future. And I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I hope that you have an enjoyable time during the festivities. Thank you very much, and all the very best for your future development. Thank you.